Our next topic of the day is going to be talking about GTFO, a game that we haven't talked about on the YouTube channel up to this point, but it's been a game, guys, that I've wanted to talk about on the YouTube channel because I've been very intrigued ever since starting to play this game, and really, I've really enjoyed it, and it's absolutely something, it's different, it feels different. It has those feelings like a Left 4 Dead, like a World War Z. It's got very dark elements to it. It's got some terrifying moments. It's got some really great action moments as well. Well, what I want to talk about is something that I think is really missing from this game, in my opinion, is multiplayer. Sure, a single-player story, guys, and I've said this on multiple occasions, that single-player stories are incredible. I mean, that was like my first love when it came to video games, was the campaign or the story modes in video games, and that's what I always played. I was an achievement junkie, a trophy junkie. I always wanted to get, achievements and trophies based along the campaign in different video games. Like my favorite video games, always loved playing the campaign before even diving into the multiplayer. But here's the thing, guys. In today's, in today's day and age, okay, I think that what people want more than anything is obviously, a lot of people want a good story. A lot of people want a really good multiplayer. But overall, I think a lot of people really want a full package when they buy a video game. If you're going to buy a video game, guys, and it's $60 on average, you're obviously going to want a full package deal. You're going to want a campaign. You're going to want a multiplayer. You're going to want co-op modes. You're going to even want maybe some other modes that you can play on your own. Like, for example, Call of Duty. They come out with a campaign. They come out with a multiplayer. They come out with a zombies mode, a co-op mode like Spec Ops. You have all these different modes and different ways that you can connect with that franchise. And the biggest thing, in my opinion, is doing things or having game modes that make your fan base come back or make your fans come back to play the game over and over again. That's what multiplayer does. GTFO, though, at this point does not have a multiplayer, and I want to talk about, is there going to be a multiplayer? And we can kind of talk about this in more depth after we go through this. So on the Steam page, guys, you'll see for GTFO a general discussion for GTFO. And Soundwave went ahead and says multiplayer versus. The two things that has kept the Left 4 Dead series going for all of this time has been co-op play and versus. So far, I haven't heard any news on whether GTFO will have a versus mode, but since it appears to have special enemies in addition to normal enemies, a versus mode wouldn't seem to be out of the question. I personally would love to see not only a really good co-op mode, but a fleshed out versus mode as well. 2 teams of 4 facing off, alternating each level, playing the survivors and the special infected was probably the true highlight of the Left 4 Dead series that has yet to be implemented in any other game I've seen. I can only hope that the makers of GTFO will implement this feature. If not, then it's truly not the complete package that Left 4 Dead was and is, and I might have to keep looking elsewhere for that specific package. So see what I mean, guys? When you buy a game, you want a full package. You don't just want to have one mode, most likely. Now, the games have been very successful off of one mode. I'll give you an example. Death Stranding, God of War, Spider-Man. A lot of these games have been exclusives to the PlayStation and to Sony. Obviously, guys, I've got to say, look, this is a game that I believe deserves to have a multiplayer. And I actually, to be honest with you guys, I really feel that a GTFO multiplayer could really be something special. And I think that God of War, that should have a multiplayer. I think Death Stranding should have a multiplayer. I think that Spider-Man should have a multiplayer. To me, it's like, why not? Why not have more ways that we as fans and consumers and players can connect with that universe, and it keeps bringing us back to that game and to that title. It's like a win-win for everybody. So I don't know why more games aren't doing that. But if you scroll down a little bit on this page, you'll see Simon Vickland, who is one of the developers of GTFO. He goes on to say, if we did multiple game modes, we'd spread ourselves too thin. We dilute the potential of the game. GTFO would become a jack of all, at least too many trades, and a master of none. Keep in mind, this game is made by a 9-man team. We want to push the envelope for the co-op aspect of gaming, and so we put all of our efforts into those mechanics. As they say, limitation gives freedom. We limit ourselves to a single game mode so that we can absolutely pioneer and excel within that space. There are many other games to choose from if you want PvP or single-player campaigns, but we intend to make GTFO blow everyone's mind when it comes to co-op. So, look, co-op is great. I think it's awesome. But, like, having a single-player campaign is another thing. It's like, okay, so this is a game where all you can do is co-op, right? That's cool, but, like, why isn't there multiplayer modes? Like, I just don't... Okay, it's a 9-man team. I get it. But, and I know they're working on the next update for the game, which they're going to be adding some stuff to the co-op side of things. But it's like, why not make it so that me, just as a player, I just want to play by myself, I want to play a story mode, I can do that. Why not have multiplayer modes? It's like, you've already done kind of this co-op thing. Why don't, instead of doing updates for that co-op thing, you know, you can always come back to doing the co-op thing, right? And adding on as you go. And you can always, you know, continue getting a bigger team of people if you need to, if the game's being a success, which a lot of people are saying that it is a success. So if it's a pretty big success, they maybe should hire a little bit of a bigger team, at least a smaller team to work on the multiplayer, a team to work on, continue the co-op updates, and a team that can work on maybe a story mode. I just think a multiplayer is going to bring people back. They don't want to play the same thing over and over again in co-op. Sometimes, especially someone like myself, I like to play by myself. I don't like to necessarily always play with other people. I like to kind of go at my own pace, do my own thing, not have to talk to people. That's the thing. And I think that when Simon, he's making some good points here, saying that we would spread ourselves too thin. Well, that's because they have a pretty small team. Get a little bit of a bigger team if it's a pretty big success. That's just my personal opinion, guys. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this, though. GTFO, guys, a great co-op game, one of the best co-op games out there that you can play right now, but it's got a big but there because there needs to be more to bring people back to the game, in my opinion. But let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section below. Let's have a real conversation.